Good morning. It's good to be with you this morning as we ponder a pine. That's a ponder I don't think I've had before. We moved to Arlington a number of years ago, and when we moved to town, the house that we bought had no trees on the property at all, not a single tree. So we began planting some trees. We've got three of them now in the front yard, and we've got a couple in the backyard, and I was looking at different kinds of trees to plant, and I wanted a pine to put back in the corner of the property. And I did put a white pine back there, but it met the fate of the lawnmower, so we have to replant one back there. But one of the trees that I crossed off the list right away was a Bristlecone pine. It's an extraordinary long-lived tree, and in that regard, it would be a great tree to have in your yard. I mean, you're not going to be replacing it anytime soon. They can live 3, 4, some even as long as 5,000 years. But I also learned that within the first 15 years, it only gets about 6 inches high. And I decided I really didn't want to wait for it to get, oh, I don't know, like 40 feet high. A little hazelnut this morning. So I didn't plant one. But if you don't know anything about the Bristlecone pine, it is considered to be the oldest living trees in the world. They've actually found one now they call Methuselah that they rate at about 5,000 years old. And someone has claimed now that they found one that's even older than Methuselah. And they're pretty weather bent trees. When you see them, they're not exactly a shapely or beautiful in the way that we think of a tree as being beautiful. They're kind of weathered looking, bent over, lots of exposed old wood and little plumes of green here and there throughout the tree. What I think is interesting about these trees, they say they're the oldest living tree on the planet, but the oldest ones they have are only 5,000 plus years old. Could it be that the planet is not billions or millions of years old? Yeah, I think it could. But the real lesson of the bristlecone pine is that it grows through adversity. It gets to be strong, mighty, resilient to everything. In fact, it reminds me of Romans 5, verses 3 and 4. We glory in our suffering because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. The brutal environment that these pines grow in, because they're found at elevations in the United States of 10 to 11,000 feet, they have a pretty rough environment, hostile environment to live in. But they've learned to grow in that environment. Sometimes we feel like we're living in a kind of a hostile environment. We're living in extreme conditions, extreme stress, pressures, finances, health, um, even just economic peace, world peace. All these pressures kind of come down on us, and Paul reminds us that we can take those times and we can learn from them. We can grow from them. In fact, we shouldn't just pray for relief from those situations, but pray for God to use those situations in our life to grow us. What can we learn from these situations of hardship? What can we learn from these times of anxiety and stress? Because I know that God promises that all things work together for the good of those who love Him. It doesn't mean that all things are good. It just means he can take all things and make them good. See, Paul knew that. That's why Paul talks about this perseverance and this character that it builds. And finally, it gives us hope. Hope. And hope does not disappoint us. So I don't know what your day is looking like this morning as you're starting or later in the day as you're viewing this, but persevere and pray that God can take this day and teach you something. I know He will teach me something today. He does each and every day. And that's my prayer for all of us, is that we would take the stuff of our day and learn something from it. Oh, and by the way, today is World Kindness Day, Worldwide Kindness Day. So be kind to everyone worldwide. If only we could get that to catch on worldwide, that would be nice. But until then, enjoy some hazelnut coffee. And we'll see you again next time we turn this little thing on. Ready to go, Luther? All right, I think we're set. Well, we'll see you next time.